Are you ready for this though?
What is? I'm ready. What is it? I don't know what it is.
Okay. Wayne Gretzky's rookie card. What? Who cares about hockey? I mean, I knew that. Listen, we all know that I'm not a sports person.
Okay, I care about hockey. I care about hockey. All right, not as much as
Nobody
football, but
cares
I
about
care
hockey.
about hockey.
I don't get why anybody, but I'm just saying the concept that Wayne Gretzky's rookie card, it sold for $1.29 million.
That is
Bucks.
awesome. That is awesome.
It's cuckoo dollars. Okay.
But you're talking about, and look, this is the thing about memorabilia as a whole, right? Like I kind of put memorabilia, whether it's movie memorabilia, sports memorabilia, whatever, kind of in one big category. Two things are always true in memorabilia. One,
it's the nostalgia industry, and we all pay for nostalgia.
Well, but here's the deal. One, it is only valuable in markets when people have money, right? When the whole 2009 housing bust happened, nobody was spending $1 million on a card, whether it was Wayne Gretzky or, you know what I mean, baseball cards or whatever. When people have disposable income, those types of memorabilia kind of things go up, right? Longhorns sell more merchandise. Dallas Cowboys sell more merchandise. It's all memorabilia, even if it's brand new, right?
Right.
So,
totally.
So as people with disposable income, those things, comic books, cards, stuff like that, go up in value. And two, about memorabilia, it has to go to, it's always in the value of that person. Now, Wayne Gretzky, if you know anything about hockey, you know the great one, Wayne Gretzky, right?
Well, I know the name. It's enough that I'm a person who doesn't care about sports. I don't care about hockey. And he transcends that because he's a cultural icon. But I'm just saying, I want to circle back to this guy named Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
Who 2 years ago or 3 years ago was talking about, well, I think baseball cards and sports cards and those kinds of things are going to make a comeback in a couple of years. So I'm buying heavy on them. And Logan Paul, the now, YouTuber turned boxer,
right,
recently did a special live on his YouTube where he was for charity auctioning off or selling. I don't know the precise organization of it.
Yeah.
But it was for charity doing Pokemon cards. And there's still Pokemon cards out there that are fresh in the pack with the fresh box, blah, 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 blah. And it was controversial enough, not just because it was Logan Paul, but there's anytime there is a subculture surrounding a specific thing. I'm a car guy, so I know this. In a Japanese car, if you upgrade into the wrong kind of engine, right? You LS swap a 350Z.
Sure.
We're all going to boo. We're going to you're stupid for having done that. I don't blame you because it's the right thing to do, but we're all going to poo-poo that.
Any subculture is that way, right? Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering, right?
But the fact that Gary Vee was so correct.
Well, look,
this guy is so good at predicting the market. What's that?
He's correct a lot, but I don't think in this one it was an outlandish claim. Look, anybody that knows comic books, cards, whatever, knows that they ebb and flow, right? They just do. Right? They ebb and flow. They go through periods of time where they're worth lots and lots and lots of money, and then they go through periods of times where you can't offload them no matter what. Because again, you have to have a group of people that are willing, in this case, to bid on a Wayne Gretzky card. I'm sure that wasn't the only bid they got. I would be interested to know how many, not only, $1.2 million, how many bids were there to get to $1.2 million? Were there 20 bids because there was 20 different people? Were there only 5 people bidding on it and 2 people really wanted it and it got, auctions to me are in its own little bubble, a nice psychology experiment for me, because that want and then money, and then did somebody start out wanting it and then got out at 900,000 because that was where they were willing to spend. I was willing to spend 900,000, but I'm not willing to spend 1.2, right?
You know what's interesting is I was listening to a different podcast about cars, and they were talking about how in that industry, let's say there's, a Dodge Charger or a Plymouth Cuda, whatever it is,
Right.
something that is rare enough to where there's, 7 of these particular colors or whatever. And they'll talk about how there's only one of 7. And a guy will take it to auction block and say, well, the last time this specific one of 7 model, this is number 3. The last time number 4 got sold, it sold for 3 million or whatever it was. Those are pretty close to accurate numbers. Well, that guy owns all 7 of them.
Right.
And he is running them through the auction, and his buddy's bidding it up. And they're doing this thing where they're just inflating the crap out of the price. And they're just, they're paying, $100,000 in fees to the auction, and they're just running it to bid up the price. And one guy's is cornering the entire market on it. That's another part of it that I think is fascinating and super interesting. Like, and I know more about this from the car angle because that's my thing. But it's fascinating to me that, listen, it's a piece of cardboard.
Well, and look, this is also
it's a
why
piece
knowledge.
Big man, it is a piece of cardboard.
Well, and it's a tiny, tiny piece of cardboard, to be honest. And this is I've always.
Have you ever bought those like Hanes pack of undershirts? And there's that dumb piece of cardboard in there.
Yeah.
You're getting 15 times the volume of cardboard for free.
Oh yeah. And
it doesn't.
Look, this is another Gary Vaynerchuk thing, and that I think he is brilliant in that. I don't look, and again, I don't know Gary Vaynerchuk, but I know I read a lot of his stuff.
I have his cell phone number. I actually do.
I'm sure you do. The point is I don't always think, is this guy, does he see these things like a crystal ball, or is he just a guy that spends a lot of time educating himself and he's making educated guesses? Here's why.
Let me add this before you keep going. What I think might be interesting too, at least in my brain, is this Wayne Gretzky card, is Logan Paul's Pokemon cards, are these, because Gary Vee is a cultural stalwart. He is a part of entrepreneurial culture. So is he creating, in a way, not that that's his intention, but I'm saying, by Gary Vaynerchuk saying cards are going up, are cards going up? And Gary Vaynerchuk is saying, wow, I think cards are going to go up.
100%.
Or are cards just kind of out there changing hands, and he's going, cards are going up.
No.
And so cards start going up because Gary Vee said buy cards, and we, people love nostalgia. So I'm starting to amass a collection of Power Rangers comic books, which is a weird subgenre of comic books because they didn't have a comic book to start with. They're like,
it wasn't a comic book thing. It was a show thing, right? It was
a show thing. But I love the comic book. I love the concept of collecting comic books, but I'm not going to start collecting Spider-Mans and stuff because I don't know that stuff. That's not what I know. I know Power Rangers.
I have a bunch of X-Men comic books from when I was a kid and stuff like that. Like, so I have some.
Are they in black and white? Are they pounded in on stone?
Yeah, stone tablets. Eat it. Anyway, what I was saying is, so Gary Vaynerchuk peddles, or not peddle, I shouldn't say that. I respect him a lot. He teaches knowledge, right? One of his things is, if you want some money, go out to garage sales, find stuff that you can sell on Amazon or whatever. What he's actually peddling is educate yourself on something, right? Go find and buy things from people that didn't educate themselves, because this story could just as easily be 9-year-old finds Wayne Gretzky rookie card at garage sale and pays $1 and sells it for $1.2 million. That could easily be this story, because if you don't know anything about hockey or who Wayne Gretzky is, this card was just sitting in a box, right? Or whatever. Yeah. And we've all heard a story like that.
So I'm in addition to being a car guy, I'm a watch guy. We call that the horology community, or I'm a horophile. And we love those. And, I'm in a group thread with a bunch of my watch friends, and we always send those, there's a clip where some guy goes on Antiques Roadshow and goes, yeah, I was moving a couch and from my grandfather's house, and I found this, vintage Rolex Daytona. And, if you don't know watches, Rolex Daytonas, doesn't matter how you get them, they hold value like crazy. If you can get on the waiting list, which is 10 to 15 years long at any Rolex AD, yeah, and you have to probably spend $100,000 to $200,000 there before they even care. and they might get 1 or 2 per year to sell.
Sure.
You can buy it for 15 or 8,000, 15,000 bucks. I think is what a Daytona goes for basically, and you can flip it today in 30,000 bucks.
See,
You can double your money today.
This drives me nuts. And again, my perspective, right? Which is value is a perspective, right?
Value is subjective, and
Yes.
there is no objective definition of value, because I would probably just go buy the half gold, half stainless steel. It's called the two-tone, because that's the fastest way to get into a Daytona. You can't get a stainless one.
Well, but
and
that's
the
my
thing.
point, is you're talking about a watch. At the end of the day, you're talking about a watch that keeps time, right? That's it. So, but again, they are able to charge that because they're allowed to charge that, right? And
Dude,
that's why I'm a capitalist. But
this watch right here is an automatic chronograph, right?
okay.
This thing has literally an engine inside of it.
But no, I'm not downplaying the technicality or technical aspects of a watch.
But you kind of are.
Watchmaking is a craft, right?
Yeah,
no.
totally.
So I'm not downplaying it all. My point though is it still is a watch. I can get it from a $5 Casio, what time of day it is,
Yes.
or
Yep.
a $1 million, watch. My
You
point at the
should
end of the day is I don't see, me personally, the value in spending $1 million on a watch or $500 on a watch. It doesn't matter to me, even though I own some of those watches that are more expensive. They've always been gifts. But that's me. I can see other people like you going, hey, no, I've got 3 of these, and here's what it is and why it is.
Well, I mean,
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I know you don't see it, and I didn't either. And when I first got into the hobby, and this is like any hobby, right?
Right. Wayne Gretzky, $1.2 million. I'm not paying $1.2 million for, like you said, a 2-inch piece of cardboard with somebody's picture on it.
I'm not paying $10. Okay,
well, exactly.
I'm not paying $100. So I guess if I was like, I think I can sell this, the only reason would be, I think I can flip it for money, right?
Right.
But
I'm going to keep an eye open for Wayne Gretzky rookie cards. I mean, other than that, it has no.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Look, this is what goes back, because again, the Gary Vaynerchuk thing, and I truly believe in this is, and this is why we're talking about this story on this podcast. Is I think there is money to be made in a lot of different aspects if you take the time to learn what you're doing, know the difference between what someone else sees value in buying and what's garbage, right? Even though that can transition, right? What's garbage, right? Can transition.
I went over, I have purchased watches from Savers and and Goodwill.
Sure.
And I have turned them around, and just with a little bit of work, turn them around for profits. And it's wild to me that, because I read a story about somebody who found a watch that was worth 20 grand or something in a store, and bought it for $10. So I started going to every Goodwill type place that I could find.
Dude, Antiques Roadshow is an entire show built around what is this crap worth, right? And then finding those little bitty, okay, this has been in the family for 3 generations, or, you know what I mean? Somebody brought this back. Even, what's the Pawn Stars or whatever it is, the pawn shop show? It's very similar, the same thing. What is this worth, right? And that kind of stuff. It's very similar to think that this thing that I've found or whatever, just happens to be a World War II, you know what I mean? A thing that's worth $1 million. So I think it's that combination of lottery, right? Yeah. That lottery versus knowing what you're doing. And I think you can do this on a small scale. And again, this is what Gary Vaynerchuk, you know what I mean, teaches. You can do this on a small scale, buy something for 10, sell 20 of them for $20, right? And 10 times 10, right? And then on go and keep it moving, right? He's the kind of guy that, everybody can find. Nobody has to be without money, because there's a way to make money with very little effort if you just put some effort in.
Exactly. And that is, I think, nostalgia is a fan. And if that's one thing, I think, in this evolving market, if you want to speculate on one thing, speculate on something that brings that stirs up your nostalgic feelings.
Sure. And that rich people want. Because in that case, this person had to get this card in front of not only people that felt nostalgic and liked hockey, but people with big pocketbooks.
Because if you talk to someone 30 years ago, when I was a kid, and you were like, or when you were a kid 100 years ago,
Sure, sure,
and
sure.
you said these stone tablets with Wolverine on them might be worth some money someday, that's wild. No one would
Yeah,
tell, no one, and so you never know. Like if you're looking to speculate in an industry, the concept that there's a kid out there named Logan Paul speculating on Pokemon cards, wild, you know, wild to
I
me
thought you were
anyway.
about to say some Logan Paul card, and I was about to just, if there's a part in the future where there's a Logan Paul card that is worth anything, I don't know if I want to live in that world.
Well,
That
he's
is
him or his brother. One
that
of them
is
will end up being your president at some point in time,
that
I'm
is
sure.
awful to think about. What can we move on from this conversation now? I'm now disgusted.